Hi everyone. Yes, it was my birthday yesterday in Australia, today in the US, so I'm having a 2-day birthday. So now all this stuff is coming out, leaks already on the written questions that Trump gave to Mueller. The leaks aren't coming from Mueller, we know that. His ship doesn't leak. So it's coming from Trump's side. And of course, he didn't know anything about Wikileaks and Hillary's emails, even though he said they're coming out in October, they're coming out next Wednesday. He didn't know. He too could be a tarot reader. So he knew nothing about that, and miraculously knew nothing about the July 16 meeting. At this stage, I think Mueller's just thinking, you know what? Hang yourselves, just keep lying. So today I'm going to look at Wikileaks and how that dovetails back into Roger Stone and Corsi and Trump. So first of all, let's look at Julian Assange. Weird, has always been weird. So what role did Wikileaks actually play in this? Wikileaks and the Trump campaign. Okay. Strangers, right? Oh, yes. Well, I'm using the Japaridzi deck, and first off, the Stranger of Fire. Now, this represents Wikileaks itself. Okay, now we on the left, when we first heard about Julian Assange and Wikileaks, thought, oh, great, someone who doesn't respect the usual boundaries, and they'll be able to release things and be fearless. And then they just immediately lurched to the right. And far from being independent, far from being fearless, it appears they were bought and sold by the right in terms of Brexit and in terms of Cambridge Analytica and in terms of Trump. So the Stranger of Fire, okay, out there. I don't know how well you can see them. It's sort of an upside down mask. Very weird. Now, another masked figure, the Stranger of Gardens. So this is the Knight of Pentacles. This is the mercenaries. So that's why I was saying what I just did then. Instead of being independent, they were bought and sold. So next we have the Four of Gardens. So the puppet and the puppet master. I suspect Julian Assange thought he was the puppet master, but I'm not entirely convinced we know who the puppet master was, but there were certainly puppets in this, particularly the Trump campaign. Now, this is Wikileaks reading. What happened then was the Seven of Gardens, or illusion, delusion. So you had Julian Assange at the top, who I suspect does have clinical issues, in this deluded, illusionary relationship with these other players. Now I'm going to keep laying the cards on top and see what happens here. I'm not surprised at the mercenary aspects to this. These are Pentacles cards. But I thought they would have been a bit smarter, these guys, But they were played as puppets here. Okay, so I'm looking, that's Wikileaks, laying it down first. Now I'm going to look at Roger Stone and his relationship to Wikileaks. Roger Stone. Nine of Gardens. Four of Gardens. All right, Roger Stone. So he was naive. The Jester of Winds or Page of Swords. He was naive on one level, but he was hugely ambitious. And this is the equivalent of the Page of Swords, the spy card. So he thought he had all the angles covered and he had his own spy. He thought he'd bought Julian Assange. That makes sense on some warped level. So Roger Stone definitely knew about it. That means he thought he was the puppet master. But he was naive, more naive than any of us realised. So, you had here for Wikileaks the Knight of Pentacles, the mercenary. You now have the Nine of Pentacles or the Nine of Gardens, which is money can buy a comfortable life. This was Roger Stone's thinking. He thought if he poured money, he's behind the money. He is behind the money who paid Wikileaks. I just realised that. This is what it is telling me. Roger Stone was instrumental. He either put up the money or he secured the money from the Trumps to get it to Wikileaks. That was his role. Now, the puppet master. Now we have the Queen of Wands or the Queen of Swords. Is this a woman involved here who we're not quite sure of yet? Queen of Swords. I wonder who that is. And then the King of Cups. I'm not convinced Ivanka is blameless in this. I'm not saying she is the Queen of Swords in this, but it is a female, someone a bit older. What woman was involved in this? There was Rebecca Mercer, could possibly be her. But with the puppeteering, basically, it seems to me they all thought they were the puppet masters. So Julian Assange thought he was the puppet master, Roger Stone thought he was the puppet master, but in fact, the Queen of Swords was on top of this. Oh, interesting. What other women? There was Kellyanne Conway. Would she be in it this deep? Oh, this is very curious. Let me know who you think the Queen of Swords is there, viewers. Then WikiLeaks had the Seven of Pentacles illusion and delusion, particularly around money. Now we have Roger Stone, the King of Tides. I mean, look at this. It's the Playboy Prince. You know, he had things in the palm of his hand and he was convinced he was the puppet master. But we have a mystery woman. Okay, so now we're going to go Jeremy Corsi. He's very weird. He's going about talking to anyone who's got a microphone about how he was, on the one hand, totally responsible for everything and was the leader of the pack, but in fact, on the other hand, in the next sentence, says, I had nothing to do with it, I just made it all up. So this is Jerome Corsi in relation to WikiLeaks and Roger Stone. King of Wands. Oh, this is actually fascinating. Another woman. This woman, we've got to work out who she is. Okay, so Jerome Corsi comes in. He gets the King of Swords. As I said in his reading yesterday or the day before or whenever it was, he's smarter than the others in terms of if you just did an IQ test type smart. Much smarter. However, he's just as greedy and just as wrong-headed and just as bent. very greedy, but he has more of a brain. I think he was the brains behind the connection. Okay, so we're beginning to see a story, viewers. So Roger Stone found the money and Jerome made the mental connections, made the deal. He then gets the Ten of Swords, not a good card. He also got the Tower. He's going to go down because none of these people have loyalty. And in the Trump hierarchy, if you look at Big Trump, Trump Jr., then Roger Stone and Manafort and those at this level, they don't give a flying toss about Jerome Corsi. He will be thrown to the wolves, or in this case, the bats. I think he'll be one of the first to go to jail. Now we've got the Queen of Discs, this powerful woman, Queen of Swords, Queen of Discs. So, Swords, the intellectual connection, he got the King and the Queen. Oh my God. I'm beginning to think Roger Stone went to, either Rebecca Mercer or Wendy Deng's a possibility, Murdoch's wife, potential double agent spy. Oh, wow. Maybe it was Wendy Deng. I'm just having a thought, viewers. Anyway, sorry, I digress from Jerome Corsi. Let's see how it finished up for him. Well, it finished up with the Ace of Gardens, Ace of Pentacles, Fool's Gold, big trouble. He was a big part of initiating it, but he's also going to wear the can. Well, now, this is hopefully going to pull it together, because this is how it comes back to Trump. And when I say Trump, I'm going to call it Trump and the campaign, because it could be Donald and the vile and destructive offspring. So, so how does Wikileaks, Roger Stone, Corsi connect back to the Trumps? What's the connection back to the Trumps? Connection back to the Trumps. Oh. Ah, you've got to love it. God, I love tarot, viewers. I love tarot. Okay. Well, if you're a regular viewer, you will share my schadenfreude here of enjoying what looks like unmitigated hell for the Trumps. This story, which has got legs this week, you know how we knew about it months ago and then other things piled on top, and now it's the story of the week. And now I'll explain why. This is how the Wikileaks stuff, Roger, etc., come back to the Trump jail. It is coming back very directly to jail. Also a female figure in jail. I'm not suggesting, unfortunately, that Ivanka will go to jail. She perhaps has the key in the door that will get her out of jail. Because don't forget, she was married to Kushner in all this. Communications for the campaign. Trying the back channel to Russia and all of that was all part of this. Ivanka's not happy, but it's more generally for the Trumps and everyone involved in that campaign. That is a jail card. Then, Eight of Tides. Couldn't by any stretch of the imagination dress it up as a happy card, could you, viewers? No. Into the dark arts, not going well. Then you get the Six of Gardens. Nostalgia. We'll just buy our way out of this. We always have. What's the problem? It's the Manafort syndrome. Or as Rosie from Tarot Politics calls it, the Chihuahua syndrome. You know, small people who think they're powerful. So that's nostalgia, followed by, okay, you've got the jail, the misery card, the Four of Tides, lost in the boat with no oars. I think this is going to be a much bigger part of the puzzle than we appreciated. Maybe we've got so caught up with some of the more spectacular issues, we've forgotten about the basics. Muller, of course, it goes without saying, has the paper trail. He would have the money trail and the paper trail, meaning the email trail and the telephone logs. Trump has gone on and written his own answers. No, I didn't know. They've got the logs. They've got the logs, you know. So Julian Assange, there's no real future for Julian. He could go ahead and have a sex change and become a brunette and hope for the best and disappear to Azerbaijan. But outside of that, his life is over. Stone's going to go, Corsi's going to go, and they're going to drag the Trumps under. So the only outstanding mysteries are these two queens. Queen of Swords, Queen of Pentacles. I'm going to do a clarifier. Just before I go, see if I can find any more about that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. And I'll have to think about it. You can write to me who you think, Wendy Deng. I must do a reading on Wendy Deng. Let's have a clarifier. Strength card, very strong woman. Doesn't tell us who. Okay, look guys, I'm going to leave it there. But I've had Wendy Deng on my list for a long time. She's the godmother of Ivanka's children. Reputed to have an affair with Putin. Was married to Murdoch, Fox News. Oh, Fox Entertainment. Wendy Deng. Okay, bye. See you real soon.